Well, Happy New Year, everybody. We're already, the first month is just about gone. I have to say, time is going by so fast. Do you find that, Julie?
It's racing. It's just racing. I can't believe how fast time is going. I remember when I was like 8 or 9, I thought, oh my God, I'll never be an adult. I'll never grow up. And every day took so long, but it's the opposite now.
Right, right. And, for me, this month has been all about time management and getting better at it. So I got a large commission in December. The canvas arrives. There's a hole about this big in the middle of the box.
Oh,
It looks like
God.
a forklift went through it. So then I had to reorder the canvas, inform the client that, I'm going to be now 2 or more weeks behind. It ended up being 3 weeks behind because it was the holiday. So then I was getting new canvas reshipped to me during the holiday rush of shipping. It took forever. So
Yeah.
then that messed up what I had on the docket for January because I would have already finished that commission before the month started. So my whole world has been imploding because one thing is delayed after another thing. And, it's been really frustrating, but that happens in an art business. So I've had to reconfigure things and um, really take a hard look at what I'm doing with my time and how I'm going to fit things in, because now I have a bunch of shows I'm doing here in Florida. It's the high season. So, it's for me, time management has been the theme so far. So what about you for January?
Well, it's actually been a theme for me too. It's been one of the themes. In a different way, though. For me, it's been more like, where do I want to put my efforts? Because I have many different projects in my mind that I would like to accomplish. And the question is, which are the most important? Which ones do I know how to do? Because a couple of them require learning a few new skills to do them. And how much time do I want it to devote to my painting, et cetera. It's been, I laid out some plans in late December, but I can see I'm deviating from the whole thing already. And it's only January, which is the problem. I mean, like, there's a book I'd like to write, but that's a huge project. I would like to do some museum and art center proposals, but I have to learn what the component parts of those proposals are and set them out properly, which means I have to evaluate, which body of work would I want to show? Do I have enough pieces in that body of work? I mean, one little step leads to the next, which leads to a whole nother time commitment. And do I have time to do that?
Right.
I have been working on a new series of paintings, and that's the one thing that I'm controlling better, and that's going well. But then I'll have to see, well, what do I want to do with that series? Is there going to be a time issue in putting all that together? So yeah, the time thing has been the theme so far of January.
Right. So, and then do you plan your year for the most part for your art business?
I plan it. I mean, I don't really go more than 6 months ahead, but that with one caveat. Obviously, workshops are planned much farther than that ahead. So the in-person workshops, I plan those like a year in advance.
Hmm.
I mean, I set the schedule for those for 2023. I did it back in September of 2022. But everything else, I try and leave room in the schedule for something that serendipitously pops up. I don't want to have to say no to some great opportunity because I overbooked myself, in a particular month. So I try to keep this balance of available time versus, having things lined up. And it's a hard kind of balance. It's a tightrope to walk, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know how about you.
I think balance is so critical in an art business, and it's the constant battle, right?
It
Because,
is, yes, it is.
for myself, so what happened was I had certain shows in January that I'm doing, and then the delayed commission followed by new commissions coming in with tight deadlines. So then there aren't enough hours in the day, right, to finish
Mhm.
everything or to
Right.
do everything that's required to meet the deadlines. So for me, what it's been is that I've had to make the decision to get up earlier, work later in order to get over this hump where I have this overlap of these conflicting schedules, and I'm almost through it. I have like 2 more days to get through. So it
Good.
will, it will end, but it's not desirable. You want balance in your art business, but as artists, we're entrepreneurs, we're juggling all of it. We're making our art, we're marketing our art, we're selling our art, or we're giving it to gallerists or art consulting firms or others to sell. So it's a 24/7 kind of thing. And for me, I try to plan the year with what I call my big rocks, which is from a book, a reference to a book, but it's the big things on the calendar, like certain commitments I've made for shows and workshops and things like that. But then, as you said, you're trying to leave room for the possible new things that could come up, and that's hard.
It's really hard. And also, both of us last year had some major medical things, and my spouse had a major medical thing that threw my schedule into a complete disastrous thing, and I had to readjust and reconfigure the whole thing for the last 4 months of the year.
Yeah.
So you have to, I think it's important to leave a little room for something completely unexpected like that to happen too. We don't want those things to happen, but they do.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. So I think, for me, I'm feeling like I'm almost back on track. And I've learned a lot about how I use time and how I might be wasting time in my art business. And it's definitely worth looking at if you've never really kind of looked at, what are you doing all day?
Right.
Because you can get sucked into social media, you can get sucked into spending too much time in an area that's not going to help propel your business forward.
Well, right. I mean, I think it's important to learn to say no to certain things. Not every opportunity is worth the time it's going to take for you to invest in it. You're not going to get enough out of it at the end of the day. So I think that's another part of the time thing, is knowing when to say no to something. Not every show is worth it. Yeah. Not every, whatever it is really worth it to you personally in your art business.
Yeah. Setting boundaries, I think, is the key.
Yep, definitely. It's the key.